everybody. How you going?
Hello.
I'm doing really well. Oh,
It is good to see you again.
Oh no, we're on stream. Oh no. Hey, how's it
It's
going?
lovely to see you all. It's lovely to see you all remotely. It's better than not seeing you at all, but not as good as being together. And same
in
with
some
you.
ways, it's improved it.
That's right.
Yeah. We don't get that smell, you know.
That slightly onion smell.
It's certainly easier than when you say, "Hey, we're gaming now." Oh, I'm at home. I'm an hour's drive away.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I'll jump on.
Or that. Oh, we're gaming tonight. Okay. I'll be there in 5 minutes.
And people can't get allergic to Nathan's cats. It's ideal.
Why is it a pick on John night?
We weren't naming you.
We didn't name names.
Anyone.
We didn't.
You just outed yourself.
Let me put on my beanie and scarf and join you.
We don't have to put up with Nathan's freezing cold air conditioning and then boiling hot when it's off, and then sort of freezing cold when it's not on thing. There you go. We're bagging at Nathan as well.
You know
Or
what?
the bridge. Let's face it, we don't have to put up with the bridge. I mean, crossing that bridge going north feels like you're going and,
John's
need a
really
bloody
tall.
passport, mate. That's right.
John's really tall. Let's look at.
This game is
Hello,
straight
everybody.
fire
How
already.
you going? I'm
So what
glad
are we
that this
playing
is-
tonight, Ben?
Yeah, I'm glad
We
we
are
can
playing
cut this.
Red Hand of Doom,
More importantly,
my favorite adventure, and you
More
can decide
importantly-
yourself whether other people think it's good too.
How would you rate us as playing through Red Hand as
Think you'd-
compared to the other times that you've run it?
In terms of storytelling and character, I think you're doing a fantastic job.
Excellent.
Wow,
Um,
that was really specifically not. You're
But-
doing well in areas that are not really key to the
I'm
adventure.
just waiting for the.
Hey,
but.
you guys are having fun.
But you have completely alienated all of the elves.
Elves, yes, that's a little bit of an issue.
I blame Nathan for that because he's an elf.
Oh, was it
That's right.
here? I wasn't in
I
that
just
session.
want to know whose therapy session it is because I've felt cleansed all week.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Cleanse, that's
Oh.
right. Yes,
You did
yes.
well.
I think it's probably safe to say it's probably my therapy session since we're playing my game, which you're all doing as a lovely gesture. Thank you very much.
There you go.
Oh,
So you've got to bring in that personal stuff so that we can,
That's
Yeah.
right.
start off with
That's
something.
right.
Start off with a deep emotional something, and then we can kind of work from there.
I must say, every time we're playing together, it's lifting my mood and improving my hope for the universe. So thank you, everyone. And the same goes
You're
for having the
welcome.
audience there as well. Is the chat on our screen here? If it comes, when people show
Yeah.
up, it'll be great to see them. Good, excellent. And we love your YouTube comments as well if you're watching this in YouTube.
Absolutely.
While should we explain the hit point system just super fast?
Yeah.
Yes.
Awesome.
You were preparing for this, weren't you?
I was. So
Good.
basically, you take your normal Dungeons and Dragons maximum hit points, whatever they might be. Say they were 60. You divide them into half, which would be 30 and 30. You can round up if you like. And the rules for a short rest are exactly the same, except that you only heal stamina. You literally just change the character gains stamina. You can still spend your hit dice the same way you normally can in Dungeons and Dragons, but you're only healing stamina. Stamina is a concept that I first encountered in Starfinder. It's like your heroic luck. It's your having your breath in you. It's what you see slowly draining away from a from a multi martial arts fighter before he really starts to take a serious blow to the head. So you lose your stamina first. When you take a short rest, you can regain your stamina with a normal hit dice thing. You gain your hit dice back with a long rest, normal way you do in Dungeons and Dragons. The big change happens once you've used up all your stamina and you take another blow. You actually take physical damage, physical damage, and it doesn't magically return just by sitting down for 5 minutes. When you take a long rest, you regain half of your hit dice, half of your actual level in hit points as you slowly heal your damage in hit points. And
What about
Yep.
magical healing?
magical healing can only heal physical damage. That's right. It doesn't magically heal your stamina.
Yeah. So if you're overweight and not fit, magic
That's
ain't gonna
right.
help you.
Absolutely.
No magic to diets.
That's
sure,
right.
We can make the fat disappear, but it's no
That's
magic.
That's right. So that's about it, really. Yeah, just divide your hit points. So just from a role-playing point of view, for me, it helps me to imagine stories that sound slightly more gritty than normal Dungeons and Dragons rules. in that, you manage to twist out of the way of a blow. So if I say the monster does 6 hit points to you, you say, ha ha, I twist out, wrenching my back in the process, but the blade just passes a mere whisker from my nose and just grazes me as the code name to say that you've taken stamina damage. When it actually does damage you, then you can actually roleplay an actual injury. And you know, they can be healed. Yep.
And to highlight that grisliness,
Yes,
or whatever,
yes,
is,
that's right. Whatever that word is, yeah.
Is, you know, the zombie fairy that was, you know, that we had, and, you know, all these zombies running around dead and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, it adds depth.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So when you take a long rest, you get all your stamina back because you've had a good break, but you only get half your level back in actual hit points. Is that all clear? Any questions from everybody?
No, that's good.
Really
Thank you,
good.
Ben.
Awesome.
Ready to lose some hit points. I'm ready to lose some hit points.
Yes, lose some hit points.
I don't think I've ever got any of them all back yet. You know what I mean? It's just like I'm always just unfit and on the side.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's a bit of fun.
That's the idea. So you are floating down the river towards Drellin's Ferry.
Okay.
And we have a bunch of skeletons, Pete and Skinny Pete rowing. Is that right?
We did have
Doug, Pete, and Skinny Pete, I think.
I think so. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
Here's a
that's
map.
all, manual labor.
You're rolling down the Elsia River from the Rest Wash, which feeds into the Elsia River. So there's the great big lake flooded town, which you've come from. You've destroyed a whole lot of razor fiend eggs. You've managed to find the phylactery of the Lich who lives to the south of Drellin's Ferry. It's currently around the neck of Johnny, who seems to be weirdly feeding life energy from it to power Nova events in his magic and having flashbacks. The Lich has telepathically offered Johnny's character loyalty should he return the phylactery to him. Or at least the word loyalty was used. Perhaps he meant that you should be offering the Lich loyalty. There might be another interpretation. The Red Hand has been spotted and heard, and smoke rising from into the Witchwood to the west as you make your way down this river over a course of 2 or 3 days. The signs of the massive red horde are becoming more and more prominent as each day passes, and presumably this army moves its grindingly slow way across the landscape, destroying and muddying the ground, felling trees to use, presumably they have some sort of plan to cross the river at Drellin's Ferry, since that's what the goblin map tended to suggest. You hear the sounds of large trees crashing. You hear the cries of giants dragging wood. You see circling in the skies above, amongst the smoke, manticores and a couple of dragons. And you just try and slip down the river to Drellin's Ferry without being noticed by people with longbows, because you don't have much cover out on the water. Anything you want to be doing while you, as you do have enough time, is everyone able to heal? Yeah, you're able to heal all your damage because you've got some healing magic, don't you?
Yep.
So you can all heal up
Yay.
stamina and hit points to maximum.
Yeah,
And we are now level 7.
I lay awesome hands on.
Yes, that's right. So you can expend that laying hands one day, and then you'll have another. Yeah, so that's right. So that's how you can actually heal.
Lots of healing.
In my imagination, physical damage that's healed by magic leaves kind of a bluish scar, maybe with a little bit of golden sparkling sort of rim to it. You can't just go on and on and on taking gut opening wounds and stitching them back together with magic without eventually actually having a decent rest.
I'll decorate the rest of the party to look more and more like me then.
Yeah, gold!
Bit of gold glittering.
Yes, perhaps each magic user's sort of healing leaves its own distinctive mark, and yours is definitely looks like it's got gold dust sprinkled into bluish wounds and bruises. But who has? Yeah, I do like that. Yeah. So at some point you're going to have to stop and spend some time resting. Though floating down the river, which is flowing increasingly rapidly towards Drellin's Ferry. It is an easy journey with your rowing helpers, your slightly freaky skeletons animated by the necromancer of Johnny's character. You make good
really
progress down the river.
They're just like,
Yes, that's right.
they're just like, bruh, like
if
huge
they had
skeleton.
muscles, yeah.
Yeah, like that. They're built. They're like a, yeah.
We're gonna have to call him Buff Pete.
Oh yeah, no more skinny Pete. He's huge.
Is Doug still with us?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doug, Pete, and Skinny
So
Pete are all
Doug
still...
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
They're a bit
Do you
grumpy
even
because they
lift,
lost.
Doug?
They're a bit grumpy because they lost their house.
It's also the
Yeah.
voids they're on. You know, they're just like anger
Blue-
issues.
Blue sparkly magic animates their bones and their joints, and as the power of Johnny's necromantic genius propels them to do your bidding. It's not awkward at all. Fortunately, it's a beautiful boat, very water dynamic and flowy.
This is from the elves, right?
Yes, the elves.
Yeah, right.
Yes, the elves lent you a boat.
Foolish.
Lent is a strong word.
That's right.
They used it to remove you from their house. I think is
That's right.
the
That's
stronger
right.
and more correct way.
They sent us away with it as quickly as possible.
Yeah, they
They-
can't fly.
they-
Kick them on the boat.
They did steal back their owl that Nathan stole, but borrowed. That's
No.
right. Sorry, they
Borrowed to
reclaimed
avenge.
that owl.
Borrowed to a.
That's right. But Nathan has his little baby owl. Do you just sometimes fly on the Manticore's back, on Timotei the Manticore?
Timotheus needs some
Timotheus?
exercise. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just
He's sort of
sometimes. Yeah.
he does some reps. You know, he's building up muscle mass too.
I love that we've turned the Red Hand of Doom into like a who's like NPC that they're controlling can get the most swole. My little owl is just like.
I love it. I love it.
Punch
So
it.
how long
say at the
does
end
it
of-
take to
Yep.
travel this kind of distance in a
About
boat?
3 days. About 3
Right.
days, making really rapid progress. Thank goodness you're not trying to walk first through the marsh and then through the dense and slightly frightening forest.
So
The
each-
river is flowing hard.
Yeah. I reckon each night I'd probably cast Leo's tiny hut so that we've got a bit of shelter and protection and we can all sleep and...
So you're pulling over on the eastern bank, maybe.
No,
Well, can't
not
I
that
just-
side.
cast it on the boat?
Does it move with the boat,
Oh,
or do you pull the boat up?
yeah. It's, well,
Does the
Can
Earth
they
move in this game, Ben?
Yeah,
let's say
is it a
define
platter or-
immobile.
What was that, Johnny?
Relative to the boat, it's not moving.
Mm.
Like if I cast if I like put up an actual tent rather than casting a magical tent,
Mm.
it's gonna float on the boat,
Mm.
and the skeletons can row forever.
With inside it. Yeah.
I like that. It
So maybe we
floats
could get there
on
in
the
2
boat.
days.
Ah. I think that sounds fantastic. You could even just tie the hut down, because doesn't a
Yeah.
rope come out of the hut?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you could just tie it to the bow of the boat, and sort of reality just sort of shakes its head in disapproval and allows the extra dimensional space to follow the boat as it meanders down the curving river. Does someone, I suppose someone sort of monitors the undead, because they're not so good, they're not so crash hot on steering, so I just suppose someone needs to be on the tiller at all times.
On the tiller.
I think we should also probably have a watch or a lookout and
Yes.
take turns
Yes.
like that for the
That's good,
nights.
yeah. But yeah, you're able to pass your way in, and thus this is why you managed to level, given the opportunity to settle down, to consolidate the skills and the experiences you've had, to cap off the last little bits of practice that you've been on skills that you've been trying to develop and work with. You know, doing a double shot apparently from Murray's character Maya Stan. You can now attack twice in a round. Has anyone else acquired some fancy skills or improved particularly well in an area?
I like it when somebody's like, you know what I could do? If I hit him twice, that might hurt them more. And everyone's like, yes, do it twice.
Well, you know, there's a lot of weight that has to come, and follow through that's important, and it's a matter of twisting that blade back around again in a lethal manner. And I like it that's something that Maya Stan is more and more able to
So Corin has
That's it.
discovered that he can leap back and forth and roll and dodge and twist and turn a little bit quicker than he could in the past, which allows me to, it's rather annoying having this large black man leaping across the hut and practicing it back and forth. But it allows me to, when I'm subjected to an effect that allows me to make a dex saving throw to take only half damage, I instead take no damage if I succeed.
Okay.
And only
excellent.
half damage if I fail.
Oh.
Excellent.
Are
Fantastic.
you yelling
yes.
parkour as you do it?
Parkour. How big is the hut?
If Ron Weasley was in the tent, he'd look even more annoyed at you than he looks at the Harry and Hermione when they're getting down about the Horcruxes. That's
I'm
right.
so
yeah.
glad we've kept this Harry Potter jokes going. They're amazing. It's so
It's not a
relatable.
joke. It's not a joke. It's a rich reference laden with sort of inbuilt imagery and sympathy for the audience. Anyone else gain skills? Have you gained some magic actual spells, Johnny? Frightening as that prospect is.
No, because the step from 6th to 7th is probably the most boring level up. I basically gain a few hit points.
Okay.
It's
Right.
really
Do you get one
8th,
fourth level?
8th is exciting.
So you are the Ron, just sitting there brooding, becoming darker and darker with the Horcrux around your neck. I mean phylactery around your neck. Yes.
You are the Ron.
I am the Ron Weasley.
Especially with Derek's character Corin leaping around the tent and sort of.
Parkour! Look at me, I can dance. Murray's like, I can hit two things, and you're like, I'm a little bit more angry.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, it's not true whether it's sort of dark, necromantic, temporary hit points that have made Fagran's look stronger, or just actual physical development. Cool. And what about you, John? Did you level up yet? Jaw, the monk. Hermit?
Yeah, I did. So it did it automatically. So I was just going through, what's changed?
Huh.
But yeah, like Derek, I got evasion, so I'm now able to dodge out of breath attacks, and
Wow.
that's really helpful.
Yeah. So that means only
And-
half damage max and nothing if you make the save. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Say that again. Sorry.
What's the actual rule again?
So I now take no damage.
Yeah, on success.
Yeah, and half
Yeah.
damage. Yes.
Wow. Only the half. Yeah.
And I get stillness of the mind, which allows me to shake off being charmed or frightened. And I feel like being shaking off being charmed is, something I'm quite used to experiencing. So
Resistance charms, or that's right.
being a hermit that lives out in the woods, I've mastered that craft quite well.
Just general disagree.
The elves don't hold much charm for me.
Yeah, the elves made me a boat too.
What we need is a submarine.
Well,
great.
is Leonard's tiny hut waterproof?
Yeah.
It'll keep the brain off anyway.
It hovers 10 feet above the ground. You've got to climb a little rope in order to get into it.
Murray, I see where you're going with this.
It's a pocket dimension.
Submarine. Pocket
Yes.
dimension
Submarine.
Nothing could possibly go wrong.
Let's test it. And that's how we added a week to our journey.
Yeah.
When you get there,
We arrived
at
at When we arrived at Drellin's Ferry, it was a smoking ruin.
And we worked out that it wasn't a submarine.
Most of the
So
battle was
eventually-
on land.
Eventually, indeed, you spot the distinctive ropes that cross the river at Drellin's Ferry. And you spot Drathgar there with his driving his horses on the eastern bank to make the ferry cross. And as he jumps on, and he must, the horses must be on the land, mustn't they? And he must be on the ferry because you were chatting to him while he was on the ferry. Yes, he obviously has a boy who drives the ferry. You come down the river from the north. You go past the large stone supports for the now extinct Dwarven Bridge. Once was presumably glorious and strong, but hasn't stood for 100 years or more.
Johnny has a mend spell. He can fix that.
My God, just kiss that Horcrux and hug it close to your heart, and
Oh.
suddenly the bridge is entirely there.
That's the last thing we need right now.
We were just told we have to build a bridge to get over it.
Nick's now on the Inchbrae. So yeah, do you pull into town? What do you do? What's the plan?
Yeah, I'd actually like to leap off the boat as soon as we come within striking distance and run into town. I believe, like in that center of town, like where 2 or 3 or 4 was, there was like a police station or some kind of council
Oh
building.
yeah,
That's right.
Got that.
Sarana is the head of the guard. So you can run to
Oh.
Sarana's.
I shall run to her location and burst in and shout, "The Red Hand is here!"
So she is at her desk doing some sort of paperwork or whatever, and you burst in. She looks up and says, "What do you say?"
I said, "The Red Hand is here. I need you to send a missive to my superiors
Hang
in
on. Oh, a missive.
a missive."
Oh, okay.
A letter. A letter.
Yes, no, not that, a message. It's like a message.
Like I'm trying. Just thinking of our younger generations. You know, a text. Okay, yeah, go.
Yes.
You guys-
In Brindletown.
Yep. So
Massive.
someone's staying and tying up the boat. Who else has gone with
well, before we tie
Alright.
up the boat,
Yep.
we actually need to evacuate the eastern part of Drillin's Ferry over to the western side, and the ferry might not quite. How many people live on the other side?
Yeah, there's quite. You can see from the map there. There's quite a sort of a collection of buildings and then increasingly outlying farms. So not hundreds, but dozens and dozens certainly. So
I
you
might
guys-
fly over the eastern side and tell them all to leave.
Sound
We
the
need to
alarm.
evacuate.
Yes, a manticore flying over the top will definitely help too.
That word.
And I'll be up there. I am a tool for good.
So you're flying off over the river. Okay, so we'll do the Sarana thing first. So she says, "Yes, the Red Hand is coming to Drellin's Ferry." You say?
They are here imminently. They have crossed the Skull Gorge Bridge, which is no longer a bridge, and they're on their way here.
This is terrible news. We must call a town council immediately. Yes. Yes, I shall tell Whiston. Hold here. And she rushes out, and you see her running across the square towards the mayor's house.
Okay. I grab a quill and a piece of paper. Actually, I probably already have that because I'm,
Yeah. Somebody should be sending messages.
handy in that way. And I start scribbling notes about basically everything that's happened to my superiors at Brindletown.
Awesome.
And
Plan of sending a message. Excellent.
yes,
Good. So I suppose the rest of you are just tying up the boat and putting away the undead into the.
Well, there is a bar, right? I've never been here before, so
Well,
that's
you
right.
probably have visited. Yeah, only very briefly,
yeah,
Drellin's
you're the only
Ferry.
one.
Yeah. But you presume there's a bar. Yes. Would you like to try and find one?
yeah.
Yes.
Yes. No.
Do you wander off
Yes.
into the town in search of some refreshment? You've been stuck on this damned boat for several days, or a tight tent with lunatics rolling around and things like that.
And sweaty skeletons.
You find the Green Apple is a cheerful tap house. It says
Unlike
that's
the one
right, a
across the
stout
road
dwarf
that's
named
uncheerful.
Farmer. So you enter the Green Apple. You see
Oh.
Farmer, who you know is the proprietor of this particular establishment. She says, "Ah, Draw! Ah, good to see you. I haven't been here for at least a year."
No.
Yes, the usual, always on the house from us. You keep the Witchwood safe, you good man. Here, sit down.
Yep, I'll have completely forgotten what it is we're here for, and we'll start imbibing some of their green apple hard cider.
Excellent. She makes sure you're very comfortable and well supplied with green cider, and she knows your vices when it comes to sweet, juicy alcoholic beverages and keeps you well stocked.
Because everyone knows
Unsuspecting
when you fight with your hands,
right.
and when drunk is
Drunk's only ever an advantage. Excellent. Murray's character, Maya Stan, in the meantime, flies across the river The people, yes, on the ferry who are halfway coming back to the eastern side sort of point and, a couple of children scream up in the sky, and then you come drifting down, presumably just land in the sort of the cross of that first little crossroad on the western side of the river.
I think we're sort of hovering and swooping any people that come.
People are screaming and running. You hear someone.
As they scream and run, I make sure that I call out to the river.
Ah, nice.
We're going the wrong way.
Someone screams, "It's another manticore! It's another manticore!"
Oh yeah, they got attacked, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
So I'll if they run the wrong way, I'm going to fly ahead of them.
Yeah. I like it.
Sheepdog-esque, run them towards.
That's right. Excellent. So you're sort of busy causing people to leap sort of, willy-nilly into the river and try to swim the unsafe distance in the rapidly flowing waters to safety from you.
Perfect.
I go out there in the boat with the skeletons to pick them up.
Okay, yeah. So there's general.
Lend me a hand.
Well done, heroes. I think we're done here.
We sent a manticore and some undead to go and rescue the townsfolk.
Oh well.
How are we going in the adventure?
They won't be missed.
You're doing what your characters would do.
Steep learning curve of heroism can come from anywhere and anywhere.
So there's sort of a frantic panic and screams and people climbing onto the boat and some people waiting and some people sort of dragging themselves across on the ropes of the ferry.
Where is the ferry? What's his name again?
Oh yeah, the ferry.
Thalgrid, I think he is. Yeah. Hang on. Yeah. I can check that.
Drathgar.
He's probably very grumpy that they're all swimming and trying to avoid.
Yeah, that's right. Play the bloody fee.
I yell out, Drathgar! We need to get everyone to the western side.
So he's sort of most of the way back to the eastern side with a current load of people, including a large cart sort of filled with hay and yada, yada, yada. And he's so you go past in the boat to try and rescue people. He's like, what? What are you saying, fool? Oh, he recognizes you.
Yeah, he knows me.
Does he
doesn't like me.
No, that's right.
He knows me.
Oh, but hang on, didn't you rescue him? Didn't you save his life?
Yeah, no, I did. He might like me more now than he is.
That's right.
He might.
Isn't that a life debt?
He might begrudgingly respect you.
Yeah.
He says, "What are you saying?" But sort of in
the Red Hand are coming. We must.
The what?
The Red Hand. Have you been living under a rock, man?
Use sign language.
Yeah.
Eventually, he goes out of hearing distance as your energetic undead pull you towards the western bank and people, and pretty soon you're just trying to get people in the boat and calm them down.
Maybe Doug could be his sign interpreter. Whenever you're talking, like Doug gives you sign language beside you to your left, just like in a.
Do you have whisper or anything at the moment, Johnny? With your spells, do you have something you could yell in his head or something?
Message. Don't think so. What am I?
That's terribly mundane.
I don't have any of those kind of useful spells. I have chill touch.
Yeah, have you not seen my swole skeletons?
So there's general panic happening in the town, especially on the western bank. Yes, people are gathering by the ferry to try and escape. There's quite a lot of outlying places. Do you go and sort of try and harry some of them towards?
Once everyone's moving towards the river, I will basically make my circles out.
Outlying farms. Yeah,
I have minor illusion, so I could cast minor illusion beyond everyone, like at the edge of the town. The sound of an army approaching.
That's way
even though it's actually way further away, I can make the sound.
What's the range of that?
Fake news, man. Fake news.
Yeah.
You know what? This is, and that was the moment the team decided that they were heroes.
Hang on, what's the range of minor illusion? 30 feet.
Or something, 1,500 feet or so to the edge of town, at least. And this outline. Good. So, are you on the boat or just Johnny going to rescue people?
So I've gone to the center of where all news is focused. Yep. And I'll just casually drop that the Red Hand is coming in the place where all news spreads.
That's right. Very nice.
So
the dwarven barkeep says, "What are you saying?"
Well, just the Red Hand's coming probably destroy your town. Could you pass me one of your lovely apple pies?
I can do that, of course. Oh yes, here, have an apple pie.
Oh,
Joe,
no
you've
one
always
makes
kept
apple
us
pies like you do, farmer.
Oh, you're lovely.
You'll probably slaughter everyone, I imagine, if they don't get across the ferry.
What's he saying? Says a man.
Off road.
There's the Oscar.
Says a man.
Kill everyone.
Hey, the Red Hand. Well, there's an awful lot of smoke in the west and the north. They're coming, you know. And there's sort of this increasingly urgent conversation sort of starting off.
Jerry
and some
Joseph
debate.
stands up and leaves.
Anyway, I'll just go back to my drink.
Can I make my way into the barracks?
Yes, you head out onto the street, and Serana has rustled up the attention of Winston. Winston, is that his name?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, Winston, the town speaker, or come mayor. Is there a graphic for him, Nathan?
Did you ask for a graphic for Winston?
I did send you one, but that's fine. If you haven't done one, that's fine. He's a guy. Guy, you can get that eventually.
It's fine.
I comes out and says, Corin, good to see you. Serana says you have dire news.
Yes, I bring bad tidings, unfortunately, and speed is of the essence. The Red Hand marches on Drellin's ferry. I need to get your fastest horse and your most competent rider to take this to Brindletown.
Yes, certainly. Here, give it to me. I shall see that done immediately, and we shall call a town council on the hour. I shall send out news, and he starts to sort of call out to some of his underlings who scatter out and ride the ferry over to the west and gather the town. And
Correct.
Tell that fool Eomel to not be too slack this time. Get him to turn up.
Who is Eomel?
You ask him. Eomel. Oh, he's one of the farmers of note who has a large property on the West Bank. He normally doesn't bother of coming to these meetings, but I feel this is obviously relevant to him. We hope he attends this time.
My friends are alerting people on the western bank. Yes.
Someone runs up to Winston and said, oh, Winston, there's a manticore and people are screaming and panicking on the western bank.
That'll be him.
He says, what? What? A manticore?
I am a tool.
He looks up in the sky and sees this manticore. Tell him to come down. He'll cause panic. People are, oh my, the little boy says, people are jumping in the river. I think someone's already drowned. I'm not sure, but they're being rescued by that super old guy.
Wow.
You mean Fagrin? Yes. The Undertaker. Good. I hope he's not doing anything spooky and freaking people out.
Never. Now, there's actually guard posts on the Western Bank.
Yes.
Those little ones on the map.
That's right.
Both
yes.
watch posts.
That's right. Yep.
And they have like guards in them, don't they?
Mm-hmm. A couple of the guards you see are laying down on the ground near those number one, getting their bows sorted out. Murray.
Right. I want to cast Thunderous Smite.
God.
Yeah, you do.
So I don't want to use the full effect of the spell, which is basically that you hurt them, deal extra damage, but I want to use the 300-foot ranged thunder heal and the fact that it pushes them 10 feet away, knocking them prone towards the river.
You're going to attack the soldiers.
I'm going to attack the ground in front of the soldiers so that they get pushed back 10 feet.
Excellent.
And there's like this loud, thunderous explosion all around them.
So the terrifyingly well-armored and spikily scaled draconic mounted on the back of a manticore comes swooping in from the sky, and there's a death-defying crash of thunder, which peels out across the ground, and the guards are knocked away. And there's generally increasing panic, and they abandon their post, and starts to run towards the river as well.
Excellent.
Crying Manticore!
You have all the subtlety of a thunderous strike, Murray.
Yep. I'm marveling
Hang on,
at the
subtlety.
expeditious retreat of everybody to get to the
That's
river.
right.
I'm feeling like I've done a really good job of evacuating this bank of Drellin's Ferry.
So
Only
about
3 heart
it.
attacks.
About an hour and a half later, there's sort of bedraggled townsfolk, angry guards, a hacked-off ferryman who's, taken his fair share of free rides for the year. He keeps saying, I'm not some public service. This is a business. I've got a family to feed. Well, I used to before. And sort of there's shouting and sort of disgruntled moaning and children weeping and lots of people pointing at Maya Stan. But eventually, the town comes to some kind of order in the public hall. You're all gathered. Whiston waves his hands in the air and gathers everyone. Tries to make everyone be quiet. And he says, "Well." Mm-hmm. Yes, Nathan.
No, I was just surprised that the crowd was so quiet. It was,
relatively quiet. That's right. He says, "Well, you all know why we're here. In a matter of days, apparently, we're going to have an army of goblins and hobgoblins and monsters at our doorstep. What are we going to do? We have to decide whether we're going to fight or try to talk to them, abandon the town and flee, or I don't know, perhaps Pelor will bring his shining light and protect us all."
I fear that we should not count on divine intervention. I have contacted my superiors in Brindletown, and I think we need to evacuate the town.
Evacuate the town, says this old grumpy man. We can't just let them take everything we've worked so hard for, just because you are too afraid to stand up to some hobgoblin rabble. And there's this, yeah, mainly.
I have on the west. Stood toe to toe with the Red Hand, and this is no mere hobgoblin rabble. They have dragons and manticores at their stead. They have thousands and thousands of archers that will turn the sky black. This is no mere invasion force. This is an army.
So many
another man says,
"That's great.
It's so nice. I love it." Another man stands up and says, "Well, yes, they're strong indeed. I believe that. You can see the smoke rising in the west. They obviously want treasure, don't they? Let's give it to them. We can gather together a fair bounty for them, and we'll see to our defenses once they're placated. And if they come back next year and ask for more, we'll be ready to fight them then." Yes. Oh yes. Oh yeah.
I just laugh in the background.
As a resident of Drellin's Ferry for many years now, I say with a heavy heart that the Red Hand have absolutely no interest in Drellin's Ferry. We're simply a stepping stone to their real goal. They'll just come through, wipe everything and everyone out, and keep marching.
We have that map, don't we? We have the map that they.
Oh yeah, the goblin.
Yes,
that we took.
Yes.
I say, look. And I hold up the map and I say, this is their plan. Their plan is to take Drellin's Ferry, burn it to the ground, and then move on. They are not merely after gold or...
They're not even going to waste an afternoon on this place. I honestly think that some of the people won't stop marching as they come through.
It's just it's the easiest place for them to cross the river.
Delora, the seasoned ex-adventurer that you know, Fagrin, stands up and says, "I've seen towns put the sword before. Death or slavery awaits anyone who remains here. We must gather everything we can and flee east as fast as we can. The sooner the better." And so that sort of makes a big uproar as Eomel sort of cries out, "You'll have me abandon my town. You've been trying to get your hands on my farm for months. Shut up, you old fool, blah, blah, blah." And the sort of general chaos starts to break out. Serana takes a look at the map, and she is inagraphic, and looks very, very gravely at it and sort of nods and looks you all in the eye, and hands it back to you.
That messenger has left, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. Yes, I look at Serana and I say, "Gather your people, stock whatever you can onto carts, and get them out of here."
It is not for me to say what we must do. It is Whiston you must convince, and the town with him. I will merely obey their wishes, be it to die or to aid them to flee.
I think I stand up at that point. I've had enough of all of this.
Yes.
And I'm gonna basically cast Thunderous Smite again, just because it's so very impressive. So I'm going to stab my sword into the stage upon which we are standing, and basically make the walls shake, maybe break a few windows. And I am going to stand up and say, I am a tool for good. The god says you should flee, and flee you will.
Where's Winston in all of this?
Winston was standing on the stage. He sort of leapt out of the way as this.
Maybe he could be one of the ones that I knock prone whenever I use Thunderous Smite.
He goes crashing back and they're screaming. A couple of the front rows sort of tip over backwards on their little sort of bench seats. The windows, a couple of windows blow out, and there's sort of weeping and shocked silence.
Can I try mass intimidation?
Oh, you certainly can.
You know what that is?
Yes, absolutely.
I don't think it's a thing. I'm just intimidating them.
It's not the normal way, but sure.
That's all right. That's just fantastic. Winston is just starting to stand to his feet when
you really just need to intimidate Winston, don't you?
Yeah, and you just basically sort of stand up as straight as you can in your shining armor with your enormous bristling forearms.
Give
me spiky gold dragon head, and I intimidate him, telling him to flee. And I get a 24.
He rolls a 9. You see a wet patch appear in the front of his robe as he literally pisses himself. And yes, flee! We must all flee! Flee now! Flee now! And he sort of, only his ministrations only serve sort of to create further panic in the room as people start to sort of barrel out of the room and rush back towards their homes to gather, their stuff in as fast a manner as they possibly can. And before you know it,
I'm a tool for good.
Before you know it, the room is almost completely abandoned, and you see Whiston and Serana. Serana tries to sort of pick him up and comfort him. She's sort of shaking her head a bit and speaking softly to him. And Whiston comes over to you, Maya Stan, and just says, "You are an impressive beast, man. I'm sorry to have resisted your will."
It is what the god wants. Flee!
I pray.
I'll do it again. Cast it again, Murray. Cast it again.
No, man, I'm using my spell slots. I'm not sure I'm going to get a short rest back.
I will pray to my gods that you have sensed truly and of not deceiving us with your words.
There is no need for you to pray. The god has spoken to me. I am a tool for good, and these are my good companions.
Serana.
We just raise our hands at the back with our beers going, yeah, we're the friends.
And then I'll bring my sword in front of me and do you doubt me?
No, sir. No, sir, of course. I'm going right now to assist in the planning. Serana then sidles up over to you, Jaw, and says, Jaw, it is good to see you again.
Yeah, good to see you.
You have always served us well. You have fallen in with this party? You agree with their assessment of the situation?
No. Yes, definitely. Yes, I've seen with my own eyes from they worked with the elves.
Terrible. Yes, the elves.
Terrible.
Menu.
Abandoned us.
You know what? This is where it goes it opens up just a slight frame bigger, and I'm sitting there going what?
She turns to you, Menu, and says, good elf. I trust you have secured the assistance of our elven friends to the north. With your influence, Jaw, they respect you too.
Well, elves aren't the smartest bunch.
Especially when
they don't really see into the future very far.
And when you walk in with what was it, dead people, and you accused them of being terrible, and what else did you do?
We asked them for a submarine and they wouldn't give us one.
Vagrant, you would have known the elves have a distaste for your darker crafts.
Yeah, well, I had hoped that they would see the value of my particular skills for this situation, at the very least. We don't need to be friends. We just need to be allies.
You are a tool for good and a good companion.
You're a
God
tool for
told
good and a
me.
good tool.
Thank you.
I'm afraid if we have been abandoned by the elves as well, then there is severe danger for the LC of Ale. And what is that thing around your neck, Fragrant?
Yes.
I don't know. How did she see it? Isn't
Oh,
it
okay.
tucked in my
It is tucked in.
robes?
No, it's
Let's
like
say-
the ring in the
let's
Lord
say
of the
it
Rings
just-
movie.
it
It's
just-
tucked
it
in.
just
swings
dangling.
out ever
It's
so
loose.
slightly.
How did it come off the chain? How did you get that on your finger, man?
Maybe
What's
it's like
going
the ring and it wants to be
Yeah.
discovered.
on?
Maybe.
Like in,
Yeah.
like
It's
in
up to you,
Harry
man.
Potter, when you have the wand. And
What? What?
The one chooses the wizard, Harry.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
So yes, it's just showing a tiny bit through your shirt, and she puts her finger out and runs her finger down the chain and pops it out, so that it's almost in her finger. She says, "What is this, Fagrin? Is this what I think it is?"
Out of context, that was the best DM line I've ever heard in my life. Just putting it out there.
Are you going to deal with someone coming close to your precious like that? I don't know, man.
She's looking you deep in the eyes.
That is a dangerous thing.
Been
I
called
don't think
that
you should
before.
touch it.
That's what.
She lets it go.
And I tuck it back in.
She just looks at you, trying to assess you. She says, "You are walking mightily close to your path, Fagrin, to your past."
What do you know of my past?
Oh, backstory time.
And you know that there was another version of you in the distant past, Fagrin, who embarked on something he was unable to achieve. You left that path a long time ago. Why are you in possession of this item?
I've taken it from the Red Hand. They were making evil use of it, and I've been charged with getting rid of it.
The Ghost Lord will go to no short means to regain possession of this. Does he know you have it?
He might.
I'm going to sidle over to Jor and see if he's got some spare pie.
Yeah, he just
Enjoy
dropped his
this movie
pile
with
over the
them.
floor.
He will be. The Ghost Lord will be particularly nervous if he knows it's you who has it.
I believe so.
He will think you want to draw from it. You haven't been communing with it, have you, Fagrin?
No, I'm just keeping it safe. I will
Good.
have to find a way to neutralize the Ghost Lord.
Ooh,
We don't want him helping the Red Hand anymore.
Indeed. Were they holding it as a ransom for his cooperation?
Yes, I believe so.
It is good that you possess it at least. But the Ghost Lord is a dangerous partner in these sorts of businesses. He's unpredictable and ruthless.
He's just misunderstood.
Say that?
No.
Okay, good.
The Ghost Lord is misunderstood.
I'm like this. After drinking some of Laurel's like alcohol, I'm gonna be like, no, he's just a weapon. A weapon. And just keep like
A
start
tool.
talking about like, yeah. And then I look at, he's like, a tool. I'm like, yeah, he's a tool. We can use him. And then that'll continue on the background.
She looks around at you all and is saying, "You are." Sorry, that's right. She says, "I have business to attend to," and then as she's walking out, she just stops just by you, Maya Stan, and just slightly near your ear so the others don't hear. If you are wise, you would get that object off him and possess it yourself. You are, I suspect, less susceptible to its darker effects. And then she just walks out.
So I don't know what a Dragonborn's quizzical looks like, but there's mighty eyebrow acting going on from my stand. So you could go and watch Demetrius and the Gladiators, Richard Burton, or Victor Mature for the amount of glorious eyebrow acting that's going on right
Excellent.
now.
Go watch that now. We'll wait.
Go, yeah.
Excellent.
Pause the
Go
video
watch
and
We'll
that
still
now.
be here. That's
We'll
right.
be here. We'll be
That
here.
was,
We'll
that
wait
was more
for
for
you.
that was more for the YouTube viewers later as opposed to the streamers.
Excellent.
'cause-
Excellent. So you have managed to, although it's probably less organized than might have been ideal, triggered a grandiose abandonment of town with as much rapidness as can be availed. Every kind of cart is being, sort of purloined and loaded up with people's possessions. There's fights about whether, Marjorie gets to take sort of her, barrel of mead or the whether the bed linen from upstairs in the Apple Inn really needs to come or not. There's various kinds of shouting. Winston, who's, yes, unfortunately a relatively disorganized, unconfident and unfollowed leader, does his best to try and keep things in order. The ferryman eventually admits that, yes, he will just go back and forwards, even though the horses will probably die from the effort. And as many people are ferried from the Western Bank as rapidly as possible.
Quick
Is
question.
there anything?
Yeah. Can we like go, because obviously there's the forest leading up to where the civilization is per se. Can we like destroy the road? Just maybe burn the crops and make it all very uninhabitable.
I was thinking of burning those two forests on the eastern bank to make them think that someone's got ahead of,
right?
Well,
no, that's not such a great idea. Burning the forest.
Well, just those two little patches. That
means the elves might appear and see what's happening.
So, which forests? The on the eastern bank.
On the eastern bank, there's two bits of forest, just like copses of trees, really. But if we
sort of destroy the town. If
we burn judicious fires, we could make the Red Hand think that someone's got there ahead of them.
Okay, that's good. So I suppose this sort of goes on all night. And then, yes, as people are rolling out all evening, towards the east, it's a bit of an effort to stop lifeboats leaving, half filled. But some people are left sort of trudging next to horses, and children, chucked onto the back of donkeys and things. But it's relatively good. Whiston gets to a point where he's sort of got the bulk of town out, and he decides that he should go and try and lead them. He says to Jaw, he says, Jaw, we shall head west to the next town and regroup there and try and organize this bunch and get them fed and rested. Thank you for your assistance in this.
Well, it's what we do. But we need to move as quick as we can. There's a lot of taking bed sheets, if you know what I mean.
Does anyone know what he means?
No.
Lots of useless items.
Yeah.
That's right. Anything. So, do you have any way of destroying the Western Bank? I mean, do you destroy the ferry, for instance?
Yeah, I think the final thing is we need to cut the ferry.
Oh, wait till he's out of town, though.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Not burn his ferry in front of him.
Okay, let's just go through and do a magic recap. Do we have any things that we can break the river with?
Yes, that's right. Yes.
Break the river?
Yes, that's what I want. I want you to think and feel and channel to break the river.
How are they planning to cross this river? Do we know that?
Ben, how are they?
You do know they've been felling an awful lot of trees, and you out of trees you would either make rafts or catapults. And I suppose in this particular case, it's probably possible that rafts are the immediate aim.
Well, I'm wondering if they're trying to build a bridge. I wonder if they're going to try and build a bridge with those stones that are.
That
are the old dwarf bridge.
They just need a span between each one, don't they?
Yeah.
I'd love to hear the hobgoblin who's like arguing for like catapults. Like everyone else is like rafts, and the guy's like catapults. It's like
we'll just shoot everyone across the river.
Everything's a catapult situation.
So I think burning the forest is probably it's probably a really good idea because that takes away all they'd have to lug their timber from further away.
So do we have fireballs and things like that?
Yep. I'm a dragon. I'll just breathe on it, and then have a rest, and then breathe on it, then have a rest.
Flaming spheres.
Flaming sphere that I can drive around a forest.
Okay, so you sort of do it. So while people are still, as morning is coming, you rove around the Western Bank and lighting the forest on fire. you light chunks of these things on the eastern bank are light.
Like there'd be
like it.
straw, I imagine.
Yeah, picking up bunches
I know
of
it's
straw.
not magical, but I think straw also helps lighting fires too.
Yeah, I think that would be quite effective. Absolutely.
I wonder if there's any kind of trap that we could set on the eastern bank. So there would be obviously the place where the ferry would dock, and that would be probably the place. Can we
like
line
a paper bag with some dog poo in it,
No,
and then some lighted on fire kind of thing?
I'm talking more digging a big trench and filling it with oil and then scattering dirt over the top of it and
Oh wow, that's pretty
setting
cool.
up a kind of a.
But if we
That's probably better.
if we fill the river with dirt and
That's-
make it a rapid,
That's a big job.
Yeah, so both those things are going to take you hours, and you don't really have time.
I have controlled water.
sweet.
Can I?
That's
Can,
handy.
that means I can.
You-
I can flood,
can do-
redirect flow. So can I redirect the entire flow of the river to one of those pylons, and then knock it down, and then
You could do
redirect
the
the next
Arwen.
one and knock it down?
You do
and
the
redirect-
Arwen thing. Wait for them to cross the river and then like destroy them as they cross.
I'd be very surprised if what level spell is this could possibly do anything like that.
I'm just having a look here. I'll keep looking.
It
Flood.
hurts me, Murray, that you made it as a movie reference and not a book reference just then. I just want to say, it just hurt a little bit inside.
What hurt?
That you used the movie reference of the flooding of the river when it was like in the books. It was like it
Which
wasn't
books?
Arwen.
Oh,
yeah.
okay, sorry.
It just hurts because you're a historian.
Yeah, but it's a visual thing, so you got to use.
Oh,
But okay, Glorfindel using the river. There you go. Better.
Ben, is there any way that I can swim out to that?
I want
that
to pay myself
pylon.
for knowing the reference, the right reference. I corrected myself the right way.
Excellent. Yes, Derek?
The pylon, can I go out there and see if I can maybe destroy that?
It's huge. I mean,
It's huge?
It's a huge, big, massive rock, stone pylon, beautifully made by dwarves.
Yeah. Okay. Bummer.
So Rana, at some point, you're all sort of standing, and you've just cut the ropes on the ferry. Lucky the ferryman is not around to witness that. There's smoke rising from the various enormous fires that are burning on the west as crops of Drellin's Ferry light and corpses of trees and well-loved olive groves and things all burn. Scarring the land and making it less hospitable and useful to the Red Hand when they arrive.
yay,
She
we're
says,
heroes.
She says, "You've already done us such good heroes. Without your warning, we would have all been asleep in our beds when the horde arrived. You have saved many lives today. For that, you have my thanks. But I'm afraid your work may not be done yet. There's nothing to stop the Red Hand once they get to this river. They will cross it, and they will continue traveling east, I fear, all the way to Brindle. That seems their clear intention from this map. If there's anything more you can do to slow them down or to weaken their forces, we would be very grateful. But I will personally make sure that Lord Jarmuth believes the messages that have been sent by his spy, Corrin. You will arrive with Brindle ready to defend itself. Be here when it really matters." And she bows and waves at you and then heads off with the last of the most straggling folk of Drellin's Ferry, which is now deserted.
Yeah, so she wants us to be the rear guard for it.
Well, she's just wondering if there's anything you can do to stop them.
Hey, can't you turn into like a dire porpoise or something?
It was no. I wanted to be a giant seahorse. That is correct.
Mm.
But apparently, I haven't seen a giant
Crocodile.
seahorse.
Yeah.
So I can't be a giant seahorse.
Is there any giant aquatic thing you can be?
I can be a crocodile, not a giant crocodile, but just a normal crocodile. But I worked out I've got control water, which seems pretty cool. I've been reading into it.
So let's say you're all sitting in the deserted inn, that Apple Inn, whatever it is,
We're
Applecore Inn.
helping ourselves to the
Helping yourself.
Mhm.
That's right.
To the lemon.
You can just start to hear the increasingly massive bass emanations that come drifting across the water from the western bank, and the smoke as the wind turns to the east, just blows across the town every now and then. And yeah, let's have a discussion about what the next tactic can be, starting with what the heck this water spell might be able to achieve, and then
So
we'll
I
take a
think-
break for this conversation.
Yeah, so
I
I
think
can. Sorry, go.
Could sorry, I was just going to say.
Delays.
I think it could flood all those cultivated fields, turning it into quagmire and mud,
Oh.
meaning that they have no wood and they can't get to the bank.
That's pretty cool. Read us the actual spell description, Nathan.
It's huge.
So it's huge. So
Like, it's like
it's like four.
multiple
It's like
paragraphs.
yeah. So I can either flood, which causes water to rise as much by 20 feet. The area includes the shore and water spilling over onto dry land. You may choose a large body of water within 100. The spell is within 100 feet square.
Okay, yeah.
And
So the
range is
river's
300
500 feet wide, or 400 feet or so wide. So you can sort of you could row out into middle of the river and cast this kind of redirect near where the ferry touches the western bank, and make a whole lot of water just burst out and flood onto the western bank. By the sounds of it, does that sound fair?
Yeah, it can make the water rise by 20 feet.
Yeah, that's pretty enormous.
Then I can also and yeah, how much does that cover on each side?
I think it could only affect one bank. It would probably only affect the western bank, but that would be kind of pretty incredible.
That would be.
But
it's it's like a 20-foot tall wave.
Yeah.
A tsunami that will just go. Anything that's less than 20 feet above river level will be flooded.
7 meters high.
Whoops. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. Good.
So that
If
would
you
be
made
handy.
it hit that island or something like that.
Or I could just
That's cool.
if I just kind of like go along over to the I go along and like move the water from one section onto the bank. So I do the tsunami and then
I like it. Yeah.
Also,
Yeah.
like how strong are those supports if there's going to be no water, which it's being basically using to hold up? I don't know. It's interesting.
How many times can you cast it?
I can cast it once for 10 minutes.
Spend all the slots, baby. Spend all the slots.
So you say for 10 minutes you can do this.
That's amazing. Yeah, that's huge.
That's a really long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
I thought it was like a once-off, like.
No, I can hold it for 10 minutes. This is my big thing. So when you all like, you know how Derek can like dash and go like parkour, parkour. This is my thing. I get a 4th level spell, and this is it. Control water.
So let's say you like
You get
significantly
1,000 rounds of combat.
Yeah, so you
1,000
significantly erode, you turn the western bank all up and down the river for hundreds of feet into an absolute quagmire of mud and silt and destruction and debris. And absolutely. You make the whole situation over there a long way away from carefully carrying down a raft and alighting on it easily and efficiently moving the army across the river.
Yeah, so the water will keep going on and off and on and off, and that means it just wash away all the mud, and it'd just be like.
Would you say you maybe would focus on that left bridge support? Because I reckon if you so let's say you kind of actually managed to wear away, undermine, that's the word, the supports for that, and I think that sounds fair enough that it might actually collapse and tip over,
and then I will fall asleep immediately.
Yes, that's right.
It was so hard to hold that concentration for 10 minutes. I fall asleep for 8 hours.
That's super cool. So you've done that, and as the last sort of touches of that are wearing off, and you guys are watching do you all go out on the boat together, or do you sort of watch from the eastern bank, or what happens?
I'm in the air.
Like you just don't care.
Don't think there's any need for me to be there.
All this
I'm going to watch on the
bar.
And so as that spell wears off and you enjoy the havoc you've wreaked on the western bank, you hear them once more lift. It's a dull, constant rumble of thousands of booted feet and the creaking of heavy wagons as they approach inevitably from the northwest. War drums are played ineptly but terrifyingly, and the first legions appear marching along the Dawnway towards the now empty Drellin's Ferry. You start to see goblin war riders appear ahead of the ranks, hungry for blood. Next to the ranks, you see enormous giants striding along, and picking up stones as they come. Up in the sky above the horde, manticores and wyverns, and even a dragon begins to appear.
Or is it the blue dragon?
It's not
Green.
blue, it's red.
Red dragon.
It's not a dragon you've encountered, and certainly not one of the 2 dragons you've killed, which is useful, which is why there's not 3. And they start to head towards, they start to sort of settle in that square on the western side and start to set themselves up to build themselves a way of getting across the river. As you watch, this horde is enormous and huge, and should you face them, death would seem inevitable. And we shall, with that cheerful note, take a brief breakette and see everyone back in just a few short minutes.
Ooh.
Yay!
See you soon. Bye.
Awesome.